the last lap of her magnificent flight round the world by way of the equator, Miss Amelia Earhart was lost in mid-ocean.
The disappearance of aviator Amelia Earhart 81 years ago remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. But this week, researchers revealed a new clue that may shed light on what happened to Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, as they tried to circle the globe.
Everybody expected a happy ending to the search because Amelia was out there calling for help and her calls were being heard.
Rick Gillespie, who has researched Earhart's doomed flight for 30 years, says he has proof Earhart crash-landed on a remote South Pacific island about 2,000 miles from Hawaii, and that she called for help for nearly a week before her plane was swept out to sea. Gillespie has located documentation of distress signals sent in the days after Earhart's disappearance, prompting the Navy to launch a rescue mission.
And it took the battleship a week to get there, by which time the radio signals had stopped. And when the planes flew over the island, they didn't see an airplane. Now, the airplane's manufacturer, Lockheed, had said that if you're hearing calls from this airplane, it's not floating around in the water because the radios would be wet, wouldn't work. The airplane is on land and able to run an engine to recharge the battery, so it's on its wheels. She's made a safe landing someplace.
Gillespie says the calls weren't just heard by the Navy, but also by dozens of people who unexpectedly picked up Earhart's transmissions on their radios, thousands of miles away.
These are just regular people who had a commercial radio set that they listened to Little Orphan Annie on, but it also had a shortwave band where they could tune in foreign stations.
Reports of people hearing calls for help were documented in places like Florida, Iowa, and Texas. One woman in Canada reported hearing a voice saying, "We have taken in water. We can't hold on much longer."
And suddenly they're hearing Amelia Earhart call for help, and they're astonished.
Gillespie's organization, the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, has also found forensic evidence that bones found on the island are almost certainly Earhart's. And while the official stance is that Earhart and Noonan were lost at sea, Gillespie says the radio evidence only strengthens his theory that they survived the initial landing.
This case is closed.
He believes closed. There are still some competing theories out there, but can you imagine being in Iowa and hearing a call like that?
I had no idea people heard those calls.
Yeah.
Pins and needles about it, and people are still so fascinated by her disappearance.
Well, he's been working on it 30 years.